Hi, I'm Andre Francis, and I'm a volunteer at the National Museum of the United States Army. Well, first, it didn't cross my mind until Karen French and another gentleman came to a history club that I belong to, specifically the St. Martin's Military History Group. The gentleman gave a presentation, and afterwards I went over to the table where Karen had some information and some brochures, and I just talked with her for a bit about being a docent, and then I didn't give it too much thought until I went to join Joe Johnson, who is our president, and spoke with him about it. And he said, Andre, you should join. He said, because of your knowledge of World War II because I had given a presentation then before. And so I went back to Karen, and that's how it all got started. And it's been a pleasure ever since. Sergeant York's helmet, for two reasons. Sergeant York, who then was a corporal in World War I, during the Meuse-Argonne offensive, distinguished himself by receiving, so much so that he received the Medal of Honor. He killed outright with a combination of his rifle and his pistol 25 German soldiers, and also captured 132 German soldiers, just about single-handedly, and included in that 132, and those 132 soldiers were 4 officers, German officers. That was something in itself, and that was a reflection on his character, because Sergeant York had entered the Army, had been drafted into the Army as a conscientious objector. And that's how he started. And so his officers over him, who were Christians too, as well as he, convinced him through reading Bible passages that he should fight. And he did. And so that was one aspect of it. And the other aspect is the helmet itself. The helmet is an indication of the lethality of World War I, which exceeded the lethality of previous wars. If you know, in the Civil War, the Spanish-American War, the Indian Wars, all of our headgear that we wore was soft, so to speak, was cloth. However, because of the technological improvements of weapons such as artillery, such as mortars, such as machine gun fire, it necessitated the use of a steel helmet. And that was an indication of future wars too, as well, where the Industrial Revolution increased the lethality of weapons, so much so that we had to use steel helmets. And also, too, what contributed to that was trench warfare, in which soldiers were in trenches and subject to indirect fire, such as shrapnel, bursting artillery rounds, machine gun fire, mortar fire, and the like. So that's become my favorite for those two reasons. Volunteering at the museum, my favorite part is being a docent. Of course, we must be ready to be a volunteer in any one of the areas of the museum, but being a docent is the favorite part because it allows me to immerse myself in those wonderful exhibits in the museum and try to impart a bit of knowledge to those who visit the museum. Oh, my current interests are in military history. I'm a retired Army officer, And through the years that I was on active duty, I've always had a keen interest in military history. And so the museum is just a tremendous, it offers a tremendous impetus to me to become more interested in Army history, and particularly in the study of it. I was assigned to the Nice exhibit in the Medal of Honor exhibit one morning, and a active duty sergeant, staff sergeant, came up to me and said, I was down at one of the exhibits downstairs, and I saw that a ancestor of mine had received the Medal of Honor. Can you help me locate him here at the Medal of Honor exhibit? And I said, I'd be glad to. And so we went to the kiosk, which has the database that shows all of the Medal of Honor winners. And I had her use the little stylus to go ahead and search for her ancestor, who was an Indian scout who received the Medal of Honor. And we were able to locate him and read a bit of biography. And she was pleased with that. Then furthermore, we went out to the pavilion there, and she had her camera, and I had her take a picture of the wall of which all of the Medal of Honor winners are listed. And then I had her take a close-in shot, which showed her ancestor showed her ancestor on the wall. She was very pleased. She stayed at the exhibit at the wall, walked around a bit to get familiar with the pavilion there, the artifacts on the pavilion. And then she came up to me later and said, "Thank you so very much. I really appreciate that." So I said, "Well, now you have the pictures of it, so now you got a proof story that you can give the next time you have a family reunion." I stayed in the Army, and what happened was I was drafted, and of course I was a private E1, and I said, "Gosh," I asked myself the question, and as a Christian, I asked the question, "What would the Lord have me to do in this situation?" The Vietnam War was raging at the time. It was 1967, to be specific. And what happened was I stayed, and then I applied for and was accepted and graduated from infantry officer candidate school. And since I was enlisted, and I enlisted as a signal soldier, I was branch transferred. I wanted to stay in the infantry, but I was branch transferred into the Signal Corps. And so I went from private to second lieutenant. And then from there, I just said, I'll see how it goes. And if I can make the rank, if I can be selected and promoted to the rank of captain, I might make it a career, because I liked it. And and that's what happened, and it went from there, and I stayed. I was the signal officer for the Canadian Army competition in 1987. That was quite a challenge. The Canadian Army competition, if I may say, is where all the tanks of Central Army Group and the Northern Army Group. The Central Army Group was a NATO organization composed of 2nd and 3rd German Corps and 5th and 7th United States Corps, basically. and the Northern Army Group was composed of the British Army of the Rhine, the First German Corps, the First Netherlands Corps, and the First Belgian Corps. And so that was quite a competition. And so it was a challenge as far as communications was concerned. There were 4 tanks that would come down range in each trial, and they had to be able to communicate with one another, both in directing machine gun fire and also their main gunfire. So consequently, the chief judge was a German colonel, an Oberst, Oberst Becker, and he was very, very strict as he needed to be. And when the competition was over, he came down from his judging stand and came and shook my hand, and that was one of the great moments of my career. Oh, that's easy. That you can. There's tremendous opportunity in the Army if you apply yourself. If you apply yourself to the Army values, if you apply yourself to the oath that you take as an officer, it's a real challenge. Of course, it can be, as I learned, it can be a very dangerous profession in times, not like a corporation or another civilian organization. But nevertheless, I think you would like to learn that you can be, and that was the motto during my time when I was a company commander. You can be all that you can be. Oh my gosh, it's a fabulous museum. It's a magnificent museum. It's worth the wait. It's probably, I think, in my opinion, probably the best museum in the world. The construction of it is magnificent, and in the sense that it's just filled with artifacts and stories. The explanations of the artifacts are just absolutely fabulous. In fact, talking with one of my fellow docents one day, he said, gosh, they really don't need us because the museum, the artifacts and the displays and the exhibits can speak for themselves. I said, don't say that too loudly. We want to be out of a job. But anyhow, that is great. It's worth the wait to see that museum.